Good morning, my furry 6th graders. Oh, wait, you're not furry. Just kidding. Okay, so today we're going to be taking notes on evaluating algebraic expressions using substitution. So you have this handy-dandy foldable here. Please make sure that you have it out. Have some scissors, have some glue, and let's have some fun. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to cut along the dotted line. Cut along the dotted line. Cut along the dotted line. I've had too much coffee this morning. Just kidding. It's never too much coffee. I sure do miss you guys and seeing your bright and shining faces. Okay, so make sure that this piece of trash, you throw it away, or your parents will be really upset with us. Guardians, grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, somebody. They'll be mad at us if we don't. So we're going to fold this just like that, and then we're going to cut it into little flappies here. Cut two, not through the bold line. Two, not through the bold line. Two, not through. Two, not through. Okay, so there we have that. So now, we have our handy-dandy table of contents. We just got done taking notes on parts of an algebraic expression where we write the algebraic expressions, and so you guys were actually, before we even do our bill, get there, 23, 24, okay? You guys were asked to complete this one first. It was 4 times x minus 32. And I wanted you to make it look like this one up here. Okay? So, I'm going to give you the answer. Should be 32 less than 4 times a number, and you can leave it as just as a number, but usually a number means in, so we're going to put a number x. Okay? We're going to name that number as x, just like it was there. Okay, so 32 less than 4 times a number x is what I was looking for on that one there. For this one here, where it was Angela earned $14 per hour for babysitting a family of 4 kids, how much does she earn in H hours? It literally would have just been 14H with a dollar sign. Whoop whoop. Okay? Now, the other thing that I did ask you to do, but I didn't ask you to do it in the discussion board, was this right here, was to identify those. So we're going to identify the coefficient here is 3, the variable is r, and the constant was 4. And it wanted 3 different expressions that contain the constant 6 and the variable s. So it could simply be something as s minus 6, or 4s plus 6, or you could just do s plus 6. I mean, you could do several things, but remember I told you it had to have 2 terms, so this is 1, 2 terms, 1, 2 terms, 1, 2 terms. Okay? So, those are just a few answers. That's not the end-all be-all. There's so many different ways that you can do that. So, back to our table of contents, our table of contents, our table of contents. I'm losing my markers. Okay, so we're on page 25, and it is evaluate algebraic expressions. Okay, and you'll be taking these on the 10th. Are you done, Kinley Bowinley? You need another video? You me just a second, guys. I gotta get her on another video.
Vanilla.
Okay, I have returned. So here we go. Turning to the next available right and left side page thinking. Alright, down here at the very bottom, we're going to write page 25. At the top, 12, 10, 20, 20. Funny story, I wrote 12, 10 and another year here in 5th grade because that's the year I was born. Well, not date there. I won't give away that year. Be a little bit scary. I don't want you guys knowing how old I am. I'm young at heart. Okay, so our title is Evaluate Numerical and Algebraic Expressions. Okay, so here we go. We have an objective. It is I can evaluate, which means to solve, algebraic expressions by utilizing, what do you need, Kinley?
Should we watch the video again? Snowman
Mm-hmm. Yes. Substitution. Okay. Short and sweet and to the point. Remember to pause the video if you need to. Gracious, Kinley. Okay, here we go. So, this won't fit, just so you guys know. So what we're going to do, and I know it has wording over here, what we're going to do is we're going to cut it right here in the middle and make it into 2 little foldables of 3. So I'm just going to cut it right here where I cut those flaps. So now I have 2 smaller foldables, and we're going to push those all the way to the bottom. Hi. Okay. So I'm going to push these all the way to the bottom, and we're going to write some step-by-step directions. So here we go. Step 1. Okay, so identify the parts of the expression. Okay, that includes the operations that the expression is utilizing. So then we have step 2. Okay. You're going to rewrite the expression substituting the value provided for the variable. And then step 3 is to solve using order of operations. Okay, we're still using order of operations here. Okay, so that's what we have here. So we're going to start with this foldable here. We're not going to paste it in until we're done writing in it. And it says right here, if a equals 3, solve 4 times a divided by 2. Now remember, this is my coefficient. This means to multiply. And so what we're going to do is we've identified the parts. So coefficient, variable, constant. I have 2 operations. I only have, this is just a problem. I don't have a term here because I'm not separated by addition or subtraction. Okay? So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to take and rewrite the expression, and I'm going to put 3 in for a. Now that doesn't mean that this is going to be 43. It means it's going to be 4 times 3 divided by 2. So I'm going to open my flap. So I rewrite it. I'm going to do 4 times 3, so that's where my variable a was, divided by 2. Now order of operations says that I do parentheses first. Well, these are parentheses that are just offsetting this and they're indicating an operation. I do exponents. I don't have any. And then I do multiplication and division from left to right in the order that I see it. Well, I see multiplication first. So I've got 4 times 3, which is 12. So now I have 12 divided by 2, which gives me 6. So if a were to equal 3 in this instance, then the value of that expression would be 6. Okay? Now, let's go on to this one. It says if b equals 6, solve b to the second power minus 7. So I need to identify my parts. So I've got my variable. I've got an exponent, which means to multiply my variable by itself that many times. Minus 7. I've got 2 terms here. This is 1 term. This is 2 terms. And I have a constant of 7. Okay? So I need to go back and rewrite the expression, substituting the value provided. So b is going to be 6. So now I'm going to write 6 to the second power minus 7. Order of operations is how I solve. I have to do my exponent first. 6 squared means 6 to the second power means 6 times 6, which is 36. So now I have 36 minus 7. And that gives me 29. So the value of that expression, if b equals 6, is 29. Okay? Now, this expression might change, the value of it might change if b equaled 3, or if b equaled 4, but in this case b is going to equal 6, so I'm just substituting 6 for b. So here we go, we've got if b equals 9, okay, so we're going to replace b with 9. I have 8 times b divided by 12, so it's a lot like this one up here. Okay, so I want you guys in the discussion board, again, just like we did on Monday, I want you to solve this one because it's just like this one, just different numbers. Okay, I want you to solve this one for the discussion board. So I'm going to put a DB for discussion board. Okay, now let's move on to these here. And since we're done kind of writing in that, I'm going to go ahead and paste it in. I've got dot, 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 not a lot. Okay, so now I've got this one here. I'm going to use a different color now. I'm oranged out. Says if a equals 7, then what is a squared plus 6? So I've got my variable, my exponent, addition, my constant of 6. I've got two terms because it's separated by addition, and I need to put my 7 in here, and this means to multiply 7 to itself twice. So I'm going to rewrite. So I've got 7, oops, maybe, to the power of 2 plus 6. Well, 7 times 7, if I know my multiplication facts, it's 49. So now I've got 49 plus 6, which gives me 55. Whoops, should have wrote that down here. Okay, so the value of my expression is 55 if a equals 7. So now it gets a little bit trickier. It says if x equals 2, y equals 4, and z equals 6, then solve 3 times z minus y plus x. Well, I have 3 different variables. I have a coefficient of 3, and I have 3 terms because they're separated by addition and subtraction. So I've got 3 times z. Z equals 6, so I'm going to rewrite. I'm going to say 3 times 6 minus y, which is 4, plus x, which is 2. So that's it rewritten. So I have to do order of operations. So I have no parentheses technically because this is just an operation symbol. I have no exponents. I have multiplication and division. I have 3 times 6, so I'm going to do 3 times 6, which is 18, minus 4 plus 2. Now I do addition and subtraction from left to right, so I'm going to do 18 minus 4, which gives me 14, plus 2, which gives me 16. So the value of my expression is 16 if x equals 2, y equals 4, and z equals 6. So now you have this one here, x equals 2 and y equals 4. You've got y squared plus 6x. I've got 2 terms, y to the second power plus 6 times x, which is a coefficient of 6, 2 variables. So this one, again, I want you guys to solve in the discussion board. Okay, tell me what the value of your expression is and why in the discussion board. So I'm going to go ahead and paste this one in. Now, another thing that when we get further into this substitution thing is it will actually tell you guys to pick values. Okay, because then we're going to take this on into graphing and things like that. And so it will tell you to pick some values. And so one of these days it's actually going to begin to look like this. So if you had, say, b squared minus 7, we'll just go with that one. Okay? And it's going to tell you to pick 3 values, and sometimes it'll give you 3 values. And evaluate. Now, these have to do with linear equations. And so a lot of times what you do is you will use a t-chart for these. Okay? And so you're going to have an input, whoops, I can't spell input, an input value, which is your what you put in for B, and your output, which will be your answer, okay, to the expression. So you'll have an input value and an output. So we're just going to choose some values. I always tell my students to choose more than 3 values. Okay, choose 4 or 5 just in case. Some of the easiest values that you can think of. So I always do like -1, 0, 1, 2, something that's easy for me to do on these types of things. When we get to this point, now if it gives you the value, you have to use that value. But if you get to this point, when we get to this point, not if, when, we're just going to put this in for B. So now we have -1 squared minus 7. So -1 times -1, well, it's a positive one because a negative times a negative is a positive. So now I have 1 minus 7, which gives me an output of -6 for that one. So then I have 0 minus 7. So I've got 0 squared. 0 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 7 is going to give me a 7. So notice there's a pattern here. Well, this one is positive 1, so 1 times 1 is 1. 1 minus 7 is, once again, negative 6 still. And then I have 2 squared. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 minus 7 is going to give me a negative 3. Okay? So this is kind of how you do it some ways, and you still have to go through and put it in there. So like if you did 2 squared minus 7, that would be 4, because 2 times 2 is 4. Minus 7 equals a negative 3, you know, so on and so forth. So there is something that we're going to get to later on. So just know that this is later, but it's still something that we have to look forward to. Okay, guys, make sure that you do this in your discussion board. Now, guys, don't message me through Wisdom and do this. Please do it in the discussion board and reply to some of your classmates. Talk about it. And I will be talking to you guys next week.